Hello, Gia DeRose. Welcome to the Leaderboard. We're happy to have you, my new partner in crime at Hootsuite. Thanks so much for being here.
Darren, it's a pleasure. We go way back now, 2 weeks.
That's right. Hey, real quick before we get started, I know you and I are both NBA basketball fans, but we also didn't even watch the games. Might have had something to do with our intense onboarding, perhaps. Um, but any take? I know you're rooting for the Suns, so as I. Are you bummed with the outcome?
I am a little bummed as a West Coast native. I was rooting for the Suns, but it's always kind of interesting to see a series go in that direction after a 2-0 lead. So can't complain.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good segue into this idea of uh, teamwork. And I know that you're a big believer in how a basketball team is like running a great sales organization. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Sure, definitely. So for me, when you look at a high performing basketball team, they play as a team, right? You may have some of those all-star top performers, but those teams never win unless the team is working cohesively as a group, right? And I think similarly of sales orgs. So when I have run really collaborative sales teams, folks that, top performers who want to invest in all the key players on the team, want to up level everyone around them, it actually makes them better by helping their teammates. So yes, you care about your individual performance. Yes, you're chasing those quotas and those individual goals, but you're also invested in the success of your teammates. And that's when I see really positive, high performing sales teams function.
Yeah, I love that. So Hootsuite is lucky to have you. I can tell you are a superstar. And your title, it's the best title on the planet, Senior Director of Productivity. So maybe quickly tell us a little bit about how that title came to be and what your role here at Hootsuite is all about.
Well, I would love to take credit for that title. I can't take credit for it, but I do really enjoy the title. Sales productivity is hugely impactful, right? And so in my role as the senior director, I'm helping to oversee our sales enablement function and the sales development function. And when you think about it, both of those teams, the key focus and responsibility is to help our sales members perform. It's all about getting to that productivity. How can we all work together more effectively, more efficiently to get those outcomes that we're all driving towards?
I think what I really like about your role is it is combining a lot of critical motions within the sales organization where you think about sales development and going to market and trying to bring in um, more prospects for the sales team to close, but then also empowering reps and SDRs to be successful in their roles, and you're trying to marry those two. Um, you have an extensive background in sales, and maybe you can walk us through. I was really impressed when looking at your LinkedIn profile. You were with MindBody, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, for almost 8 years. And you rose up the ranks, which was super impressive. But maybe just walk us through your journey there at MindBody.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started at MindBody as an individual contributor. I had management experience before, and actually the founder at the time asked me why I wasn't going for a sales manager role. And I said, I really, really want to learn this product intimately before getting back into management. I knew I wanted to get back into leadership, but I wanted to learn the product. So I actually sold the product for about 10 months. And that is coincidentally when I learned about Hootsuite. So it was in my first couple of months on the job at MindBody, and we have this great list of tech partners. Hootsuite was one of them. And I just thought this platform is so incredible. It makes so much sense for the audience that I served at MindBody. They were always recognizing that they needed to be more present on social, but maybe were a little bit intimidated, not sure how to do that. And so that's where my introduction to Hootsuite began. So now we're actually full circle. But fast forward a little bit to after 10 months of selling, I did transition into my first sales management role at MindBody, where I spent the next 5 years managing different teams. I would manage the newest members of the team in addition to training. So my very first management role at MindBody, I wore both hats, the enablement and trainer, as well as the manager for all of the newest sales reps. And then we had, different shifts as organizations do. And I had mixed teams where I had tenured reps and brand new reps. So ran the full gamut of helping our newest members get up to speed, as well as keeping our most tenured members really engaged.
So Gia, as you think about those days of being a sales manager, and you are a leader once again at Hootsuite, but I guess specifically around your sales manager role with MindBody, what were some of the biggest challenges, and do you have any advice for aspiring managers or current managers on how to deal with those challenges?
Yeah, I would say one thing that is, incredibly relevant in the SaaS space and in the tech space. And, a lot of people want to be in this world. One caveat, one thing to note is it comes with a tremendous amount of change. You cannot be afraid of constant change if you want to be in SaaS or in tech. And so one thing that I would, really encourage people to do is recognize the value of your tribe, the people around you. Find like-minded people. When you're hiring for your team, really look for those folks who are going to be adaptable, not resistant to change. Because having a highly agile team around you is what allows you to move at the speed of light, which sometimes our job forces us to do.
Absolutely. That's great insight. And I think I agree with you. I've noticed that the highest performing reps or highest performing managers seem to lean into the change and actually enjoy it. And they see it as an opportunity rather than an obstacle.
Absolutely. It's a way to thrive and allow yourself to continuously be challenged in your role. There's never a sense of monotony in the world that we live in, which is a wonderful thing if that's the mindset and that's the lens you're looking at it through.
Totally. So let's transition to women in sales leadership. There is a need for more women to rise up the sales leadership ranks. The Weekly Pitch actually a few weeks ago published a link to an article showing that women are actually higher performers in sales. They are more likely to hit quota. They're more likely to get promoted. They're more likely to be high performing. Yet, depending on the data sources, the majority of sales organizations are men. That's anywhere from 60 to 75%. So what's your view on women in sales leadership, but then also just women in sales in general? What types of insights or advice could you give to aspiring women in sales to rise up the ranks or to give sales a try?
I love this topic. I'm so glad that you're bringing it up. Thank you. I would say where to begin. You're right. You're absolutely right. Women in sales are underrepresented, and even more so at the leadership level. So what can we do? I think having things like employee resource groups, the ERPs that are focused on education on this topic. So for example, one thing that we know through a lot of research is that if women don't meet about 80% of the criteria on a job description, they won't even apply for the job. Whereas men, if they meet 30% of the requirements, they'll go ahead and go for it. So we just need to highlight these things. We need to talk about it more. We need to educate so that more women feel empowered to go for those roles. The other thing I'll say is having a voice in strategic meetings. I've worked with female leaders in the past who have really incredible ideas and are very strategic in their thinking. But when it comes to a group meeting, they don't want to interject, or they feel like sometimes they'll be talked over and that will deter them from speaking up more. And that actually has an impact on being viewed as a leader. So the potential to be promoted in the future. So just having these resources, having this education, having the opportunity to understand more why more women aren't rising up the ranks is incredibly valuable and I think very empowering. So we just need to showcase it more. So again, thank you for bringing up this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a male sales leader, I would like to share with my fellow male sales leaders, I like your point around having women speak up and giving them a platform, even within a team meeting or a meeting. And I would share with my fellow sales leaders, if you are a man, to be aware and stop talking as much and make sure that if you are in that team huddle or in a one-on-one, that you're actually allowing every team member to talk and to voice their opinion, to provide their input. And I think that's a skill that a lot of male leaders need to develop.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Encouraging it, right? Not just creating a collaborative environment, but actually pinpointing people and say, do you have an opinion on this? Right. And then the other thing I'll say on this topic is I've had really incredible male allies that have worked really well in terms of those group settings where I might suggest an idea and it might fall flat. And then I'll have those allies that I mentioned who back me up and say, let's go back to Gia's idea. I thought that was really great. And they kind of do a +1 publicly. And then it kind of creates more steam around that topic.
Absolutely.
Really well.
Yeah. And quick shout out to our sales leader, Melissa Murray Bailey, who I know cares deeply about this topic as well. And Hootsuite, I think you and I are both impressed with the vision, but then also the commitment to DE&I. And I really do hope we can attract more women into the leadership ranks, but also into sales organizations. And I know you have an opportunity to extend to our subscribers out there. So maybe share a little bit about your team and the exciting things that you have underway, and more specifically, the openings that you have on your team.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Darren. So yes, so we are growing our sales development team, in particular on the inbound side. So we're actually hiring for a couple of key roles for sales development representatives, but also I have a leadership role that's open on that team as well, the inbound sales development manager. Additionally, on the enablement side, we just found out that we are going to be hiring for an onboarding specialist. So nothing to me, and this is so fresh for us, so it's super relevant. We've just gone through the last 2 weeks of onboarding. Nothing is more impactful than that first experience joining a company. And the people behind that, I mean, we've met so many wonderful people over the last couple of weeks, but we are hiring a key strategic role that will be responsible for creating and overseeing that program. So I'm really excited for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we go, I know you and I are both avid learners, and we are students of the sales game, and we both love books and podcasts. So do you have any go-to listens or reads that you would recommend to other aspiring sales leaders or sales reps out there?
Absolutely. I would say on the topic of books, Kim Scott's Radical Candor, that is one that has been incredibly impactful for me, especially, rising up the ranks of leadership, finding that voice and finding the ability to be really candid and have some difficult conversations, and recognizing that friction is okay and having different viewpoints is not just okay, it should be celebrated. So that's a really impactful one. Another book that I read, during the last year, where we are maybe struggling to connect and figuring out this new way of connecting through, online sources, was The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker. So a lot of focus on the intentionality behind every single interaction and every single opportunity that we have to meet. That was a great read. For podcast, on a personal note, I really love Dax Shepard, Armchair Experts, and then Unlocking Us, Brene Brown. Big Brene Brown fan. So Dare to Lead is also a really great one for up and coming leaders, as well as Work Life with Adam Grant.
So you and I might be brother and sister, because I love Dax, I love Brene, and Kim Scott, Radical Candor. The Art of Gathering, though, I'm going to add that to my list. I have not read that book yet. Well, that is awesome. Thank you so much for taking time to meet with the Weekly Pitch. How can others reach out to you, even if they would just like to follow Gia's career, or if they are interested in your job openings? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Gia DeRose, obviously at Hootsuite. And I have been posting our recent openings on LinkedIn as well, but you can also find them on the careers page of the Hootsuite website.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gia. And I am so pumped to be working closely with you, and we're going to do great things together.
Yep, it's going to be amazing to link arms. I appreciate it, Darren.
All right. Thanks, Gia. Bye.
Thank you.